Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Aliens and UFOs video. Alright, another entry here based on one of your suggestions. This one of the newer ones. And the reason why I picked this one is because there's several interesting things that occurred within this encounter. For starters, of course, there was the fact that there was a true alien encounter with a UFO, like the aliens coming out of the UFO itself. And then also had to do with the fact that it happened in public with a large group of people. Normally such tales involve, like, let's say some foresty area or some farmland with like one person or maybe just a small group of people. But no, in this case it happened at a city park, no less. And then the last thing that made it so interesting was that you could say that there was an attack done by one of these aliens onto one of the people there within that park. So that definitely intrigued my mind when I was reading this information. It has to do with this. It's called the Voronezh Alien Encounter that occurred there in Voronezh, Russia back in the 1980s. So lots of interesting information. Let's go ahead and we'll share that here. So what was this Voronezh Alien Encounter? Well, you have to go back in time again to the 1980s, specifically September 27th, 1989. This was at a time when it was the Soviet Union, and there was a city there called Voronezh, which is apparently at a location called Oblast. I hope I'm saying that right. As Voronezh Oblast, Russia, as it's known now. But back then, again, it was the Soviet Union. And on this day, if you cut to a little bit time beforehand, there were strange lights that were already being reported around that city sky. But cut to September 27th, there was a small group of kids playing football within one of those city parks. So again, this is happening right out in the public, right out in daylight, and there should be a large group of people somewhere around there. That's when the kids heard what could be described a whistling sound of some sort that drew their attention. And in doing so, they saw something that looked like a pinkish glow coming from the sky. And it, with that pinkish glow, brought this actual UFO, which you're looking at a description or a drawing of here. And when it landed, or it was close to landing, that's when its hue changed from being pinkish to being a deep, deep red. So obviously everybody there was pretty much this captivated their attention. They were going to do nothing else, so they were very, very interested to see what was happening in front of them. So once this disc-shaped craft landed, there was a small number, I believe it was either 2 or maybe 3 of these aliens that came out of the craft. They were described as follows, and you're looking at some drawings of them here. They were about 3 meters tall. They looked humanoid in the sense that they had 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, stomach, and so forth. They had on their head what looked to be 3 eyes, at least according to the witnesses, because maybe the eyes were part of that helmet that you're seeing there, or the eyes were actual eyes themselves. And then the interesting thing was that there was no neck visible between the head to the upper torso. So whatever that head consisted of, it was just pretty much attached to the torso. And they seemed to have a buddy, because there was a robot of some sort that emerged also from the alien craft. So again, keep in mind, there's these humanoid type aliens, there's this robot, and then there they are just wandering around their UFO. Whatever they were doing, they didn't seem to pay too much attention to the people gawking at them, because according to those witnesses, it just looked like these aliens and then the robot just started gathering samples from the ground. It seemed like they were gathering organic samples. So that tells me maybe along the lines of, let's say, plants or some other type of vegetation that happened to be there. Who knows? Maybe even some rocks as well. But the aliens were just minding their own business, and as this was happening, word quickly started to spread. More people started to gather. But interestingly enough, the aliens decided to go back into their craft of some sort and then disappeared. So that seemed to be the end of it. But was it? It wasn't, because what happened later cut to about 5 minutes after that, the aliens reappeared, and when that happened, one of them actually had what was considered a pistol of some sort. It was described as a tube-like pistol. So it seems like these aliens now were paying attention to the people around them, because now they were using this pistol, not necessarily in a threatening way just yet, but it was certainly not something that they had from before. Now here's where things get a little bit more stranger. I don't know exactly how true this is, but again, keep all of this with an open mind, because as the aliens this time were inspecting around and then they decided to go back into their ship, one of the kids there, specifically a 16-year-old boy, decided to block their way. Again, this ties into some of those past stories that I've mentioned with alien encounters, where people have stated that they've run up towards the alien, or they've just pretty much gone up straight to the UFO without any fear. Or in another case, I remember one of those videos talking about, there was a guy stating that he was clinging on to one of the alien's foots, trying to force it and make sure it didn't get back to its craft. All of that seems far fantastical to me. So in this case, when you have a 16-year-old boy decide to just block the pathway between the alien and this UFO, again, take that with a grain of salt. But according to witnesses there, this alien then decided to point that gun, that tube-like pistol that it had in its hand, its quote-unquote hand, and it fired. And it made the kid disappear right then and there. Clearly, of course, everybody was freaking out at that point, because to see somebody just disappear in midair, almost like, I would imagine it being like in a Star Trek world when they set those phasers to their full blast, people were running. They were scrambling, running for their lives. And then that's when the aliens went back into their spacecraft, and then it pretty much just shot up to the sky. That was it. There was a faint glow of some sort, again, that pink hue that I was mentioning earlier, and then it was gone. But, much to the relief of the crowd there that was now gathering around the location that the alien craft left, this boy, the same one again that blocked the previous alien, reappeared. He was apparently very visibly shaken, and when asked, like, where did you go? He had no recollection of exactly what had occurred. So this tube-like pistol that was used, whatever it was, temporarily put this boy into some other place, some other stasis, who knows where, blocked his mind in the sense that he could no longer recollect where he was, and like a timer of some sort, brought him back all unharmed, but still affected because of this encounter afterward. Now, some of the people that reported some of this information included, so I guess you could consider them more notable, people within that society. Like there was a policeman there by the name of Sergei Matveyev, I believe that's how to say his name, and he was talking to a journalist, and he was stating about the information that was just listed within my video. There was another person, a lieutenant, that also stated that he saw this alien, saw the UFO, saw it. They didn't see the aliens, but he did see the UFO, and he saw it flying at a low altitude and at great speed. There was someone else that worked for a geophysical laboratory, a guy by the name of Genrik Silanov, that also witnessed this, and then also had the children draw what they saw as well. So in this case, since they had a much closer encounter than he did, then they were able to draw this. In fact, some of those drawings you're looking at were coming from them. But that was it. That was the only time, the only encounter that this city had, at least a very close one, with these aliens. Nothing else happened necessarily afterward. Also, what was interesting to note is that all this information, at least at that time with the Soviet Union, it seemed to have been covered up. I don't know how the Soviet Union at that time necessarily treated incidents such as these, but it seems like only recently, in other words, much longer after this date of September 27th, 1989, that this information was being allowed to leak out, I guess. It was allowed to be spread across the media, and then that way now people are getting more information related to it. There was also, if you could believe this, very interesting, there was scientific data done on the site, like the landing area that this descended upon, and it was found that there was a high radiation level increase of it, in fact, showcasing proof that yes, something was there that was causing this thing. I don't know exactly why there's no pictures, like actual photos of this alien. Even this was 1989. I mean, people had cameras, presumably disposable cameras of some sort, so I don't know why, unless this thing happened quickly within minutes, why there's no more further, I guess, photographic proof. But at least according to that data, there was scientific proof that one of these that this UFO landed there, and that these aliens were walking around. But in any case, again, nothing else happened afterward. No other incidences nearby. This seems to be another one of a kind type thing. So if anyone has any more information about these specific aliens, the ones with the 3-meter tall description, the 3 eyes on their head, having that pistol of some sort, please post those comments below. That'd be really interesting to hear. Also, again, with regards to that area, with this being almost hushed up after that 1989 incident, it'd be interesting to hear if anyone knows more information as to why that was done. If Soviet Union at the time just tried to cover up any and all related stories having to do with aliens and UFOs. So please post those comments for everyone to see too. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.